If there's one thing that I've learned in life, it's that triggers are the key to growth. Triggers are literally mirrors being held up to our faces telling us exactly what we need to heal. And it's kind of like if you have a house and an inspector comes along and tells you, oh, you gotta repair this, you gotta fix this over here, you gotta fix this window. It's kind of like the same thing but with parts within ourselves. So every time that I have a trigger, I always ask myself, what am I feeling? And then why do I feel this way? What led me to feel this way? What belief do I have? And I keep on asking more and more questions till I get to the very root of why I'm feeling this way. And 9 times out of 10, that's always a past experience that I've experienced that led me to have that belief. So I'm in a state of observing myself rather than judging how I'm feeling, because I know that there's something. It's kind of like just you know when you're driving a car and then like one of the lights go off, it's like, oh, you're not gonna get all emotional about it. It's like, okay, what's the problem? And so I just see it as, I just observe how I feel, and I acknowledge the fact that there's something within me that needs to be healed. In this way, I don't feel a sense of hate towards myself or hate towards the trigger itself, because I feel like a lot of the time when you become conscious, a trap that we can get caught in is blaming ourselves for even messing up, for even getting triggered about certain things. But that's just a result of me not allowing myself to just be and to know that I'm human and it's completely okay to have triggers, and ultimately it is a call for growth. And so you don't want to get caught up in thinking, oh, I'm getting triggered, there's something wrong, da 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 da. It's like, no, okay, like let's observe it and see, okay, what parts can I heal within. I used to get really triggered by what other people thought about me and their own perceptions of me, but one thing that I realized is that first off, reality is created by my own perception of myself, but it was also me searching for external validation in other people to show that I was worthy of love. And if I wasn't a certain way and that people didn't like me, then I wasn't worthy of love. And it was past experiences where I may have been rejected, I may have not been shown the love that I may have wanted at the time, that led me to feel like if I'm not a certain way, then I'm not worthy of love, then I'm not going to be loved. And so I used to care a lot about how other people perceived me. But what I realized is that everyone's gonna have a version of me in their mind that I cannot control. And nor is it my responsibility to control their perception of me. And it doesn't matter what their perception is of me, so long as I like my perception of me, so long as I love myself, that's all that matters. So I would never get to that point of feeling whole within myself if I continue to search for it in other people, because other people, like I said, I can't control what their perceptions are going to be about me, and they're always going to be different. And the only perception that's going to be stable and that I can control is the perception of myself. Another thing I wanted to say is that everything is a projection. Anything that anybody says to you that is trying to insult you or is trying to offend you in some sort of way, all of that is just a projection of what they have within themselves. And if you get affected by what that person says about you, you have a belief within that aligns with what they said, hence why you react to it. Just like if somebody said to me, this is a blue shirt, I wouldn't react in any way, because it's like, I believe that this is a black shirt, and so why would I react in some sort of way when I know that that's not the truth? And so it comes down to your own belief and understanding of yourself and knowing who you are to the fullest extent. And even if someone says something to you that's slightly true, it's about completely loving yourself and completely knowing that it's completely okay to be yourself, that it will not affect you, because it's like, why would I be upset when I'm a human being and I'm flawed and I'm not going to be a perfect person, and my authentic self is not going to be perfect. And so long as I love who I am, it doesn't matter what flaws I have that other people point out, because it's like, okay, I know that that's me. And so people's actions are just a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. And I've observed a lot lately that a lot of triggers are habitual and ego feeding. And I'm talking about the triggers that a lot of the time just go unnoticed because people just do it subconsciously, especially when they're around other people. A lot of the time, people might think, oh, this person did this, I knew that they were gonna do this, or this always happens, I hate this country. All of these triggers, you're not reacting, you're more so identifying with the reaction. And so when you catch yourself being overly passionate about a trigger, it's no longer about the issue, it's about your ego. Your ego is feeding off of that emotional charge that you are having at that moment, hence why you continue to go on and on about how you are right or how this thing is so horrible when you continue. It's just your ego, it's just all feeding into your ego. And it makes it a lot easier to blame external things for the way that you're feeling rather than going within and asking yourself why you're feeling that way and what within you is actually causing you to feel that way. And if something just happened and you keep on replaying it over and over in your mind and you keep on ranting about it, or obviously get your emotions out and say how you feel, but if you continue to prolong it, you're literally just dragging the past into the present moment. You're not being present. You're just thinking about the past. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and versus what is thought because it is the brain. It doesn't know. And so it relives that experience, bringing up those emotions that you felt during that time. And so you're just reliving the same moment over and over again, not changing anything within. And that's the ultimate ego trap because you're just re-experiencing the pain to confirm an identity for yourself. And that when I say identity, when I say ego, that could just be somebody who happens to have a lot of bad things happen to them, or you just know that this bad thing is going to happen. It's all just to keep that identity alive. And so you need to ask yourself, do you really want to heal or do you just want to be right? So if you're constantly around people who get triggered about certain things, you may start to get triggered by the same things because you're so used to being around that person that your brain starts to pick up on their own way of thinking. And so their triggers become your triggers. If you're whole within yourself and you're in a state of observance rather than judgment when these things happen, these triggers will not affect you because you're just too aware. You're just too aware of the situation that is happening. You're too aware of yourself and you're centered. Being triggered about what somebody else says or does is like somebody coming and poking at a wound that you have. It only hurts because it's not healed. And if it was healed, it wouldn't hurt. And so everything comes from within. Everything that you search for externally, it all comes from within. Your self-love, your self-worth, your sense of security, all of it comes from within. So stay in the state of observance, not judgment. And if you learned anything from this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, because on this channel we're constantly evolving. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Peace and love, y'all.